Jeremy the Critic over at iOS-etc.com. In order to get all the goodies that we put out here over at iOS Etc., you gotta follow me on Twitter at iOS@Critic, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or check out 2 new buttons I've added to the website for Pinterest and Facebook. Wanted to go ahead and do a medical application review on an app called Pregnancy HD. I downloaded it for the iPad about 5 months ago when I found out my wife and I were expecting our very first child. Lots of questions, needed some answers, wanted to find one central location I could get some answers to some of the questions I had. That's how I found Pregnancy HD. It is available for the iPhone and the iPod Touch. Go into the iOS App Store and you'll have to search for Pregnancy Plus Plus. The plus is 2 plus signs, not the actual word. You'll be able to find it that way. I could go into much more information about it. However, just watch the video right after this portion of the review, and I'll talk to you on the backside of the video. When you open Pregnancy HD, it does take you to the home screen or today, which is essentially a snapshot of where you or your partner is at in the pregnancy. We have it set up at weeks we are going into, not the weeks we are currently at. As you can see, we're at week 22, whereas my wife is 21 weeks and 2 days pregnant. The sliding orange button in the middle does go through each 1, 2, and 3 trimester and kind of keeps you on track of where you're at. Daily tips there, as you see on the left-hand side. Some have been useful, some have not. The next appointment information on the right has been extremely useful to keep everybody on task of when the next appointment is. This little picture of the baby on the bottom left is information. We will get back to that in just a minute. You'll see later. Day 149, it's kind of giving us a tally of what day we are at in the pregnancy. Length and weight information is just a general approximation of what the baby is growing as of right now in this week. FAQs does take you to the outside website of Health and Parenting, gives you information about the application itself, not the actual information or frequently asked questions that you might have. It does have other information that you will be able to find out. However, the other button does take you to the blog on their outside website, gives you some general information or daily information on being a parent, pregnancy, and other stuff in general. Going back into the application, we'll go to My Baby. This is what I was talking about earlier. You can go to Weekly, Color Image, and then it will bring up the information that you can scroll through on the right. As you see information about the baby, your body, health and tips through the pregnancy week by week, and partners info that you might want to take a look at as you're going through the pregnancy if you are the partner. The one thing is, first 1 through 13 weeks is free. Anything going into week 14 and beyond will require the $2.99 purchase price. Great information here. I do greatly advise picking it up after week 13, a very small price to pay. The daily information you can again go through and will give you information daily on things to look at, think about, or that may be going on. Star sign does go on the approximation birth date that you have set up within these settings. It gives you characteristics of the baby. This is the composition of how your partner, you or your partner, may look over the pregnancy, life of the pregnancy, to kind of give you an idea of what size will look like for you throughout the pregnancy. Size guide does give you information on the size of the baby starting all the way at week 3 and beyond. You'll notice as you go into weeks 22 and beyond, they run at 2 to 4 week cycles. Timeline does give you some information about what you can expect to be able to look at throughout each week to week, what they can check for, what you might be able to expect as a parent. As you can see, for us around January 11th, first kick for dad to feel. Then it does give us around week 27 for good infant survival rate if the child was to be born on that week. Going through the me information, some food, what to eat, what not to eat, great information here. Exercise, what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and some overall general tips. You can click each of these pieces of information to get more information about the topic. Medication, some great information on what to avoid, what you should and shouldn't have, other things that you may be interested in. You can select each option. It does give great information that you and your partner may want to take a look at throughout the pregnancy to kind of know what to expect. Going through some of this, the birth plan that you might want to start setting up with your partner, it does kind of give you some information about that. Ways to track weight and overall weight information for you or your partner. Going on to the organizer portion, here's where you would add new appointments that will show up on your daily snapshot. Great to have these in there because again, it does keep everybody on task. Shopping information. If you were going to want to look at clothing, you would maybe want to select this so that way you can tally each things that you have gotten.
If you were worried about furniture, again, you can take a look here and you can select the things you have or don't have or want to get. As you get further along in the pregnancy, you want to go through here and maybe check and see what you or your partner wants to add to your baby bag. For instance, if I was wanting to get mine ready, I would most likely want to add the digital camera to make sure we're taking pictures as we go throughout the process. To-do list, you can add new things that you need to do before the pregnancy so everybody's ready to go. Cool little function here, it does have baby names. I'm sure you've looked at quite a few of them, but now there is an even greater amount that you can look at, going through numerous different lists that you can check out and see what popular names are. Here's a great place that you can add phone numbers for doctors, loved ones, mom, dad, work. If you need to get a hold of your spouse while they're at work and you want to make sure to have the correct number to get a hold of them at any point of their day, you would want to enter it here. Going into your tools, you can do a kick counter or at later portions in the pregnancy. If you wanted to keep track and make sure the baby is okay, there is information in here on what you would want to look for. Contractions, kind of the same thing. You can go through the information here and it kind of gives you some information about contractions you may want to know. Settings, this is where you would set up all the information that will set up the due date and so forth, so you can kind of keep track about that stuff. Here's information about the developers if you want to contact them or have any other questions, want to follow them on Facebook or Twitter or something like that. Other applications they do have you can check out in the App Store for iOS and I believe Android as well. Here is where we did the information about the due date, has all that stuff set up. You can change the information if you would like, but again, it would require you to go into the settings. Overall, great application for $2.99. It has answered a lot of my questions as well as my wife's questions. Very small amount of money to pay for new parents to learn about numerous information throughout their first pregnancy or even your second, third, or fourth.
It's always a good idea to consult with your medical professional if something you've read on Pregnancy HD or anywhere else contradicts with something you believe. In those cases, it's probably best to go ahead and consult your doctor and have them clear up any confusion you might have. Overall, Pregnancy HD has answered a lot of questions and given me a lot of information over the past 5 months. For $2.99, it's a small price to pay to have that kind of information at your fingertips. Therefore, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, which is the first I've ever done on this website, and I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for checking out Pregnancy HD with me over here at iosetcetera.com. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at iOSAppCritic or check me out on Pinterest or Facebook with the 2 new buttons I've added to the website. Make sure to check back when you get all the latest news and Apple reviews over here at iosetcetera.com. Until next time, see you soon.